Have you ever heard of boomerang arrows?
What? Why would I ever want to use a boomerang arrow?
Because they come back.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, if all trick arrows were boomerangs, then we'd have them all.
Coming back at us.
You'd have to dodge.
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite Of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and we enjoy it one nibble at a time.
and we're so close to the end of Hawkeye, it's going too fast.
It really is. It's crazy. I feel like it's basically reflecting 2021 back at us. I keep dating things 2022. I'm living in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just kind of want to be done with this era of time.
This era, definitely, it's an era of time. It's not even just a year anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, no, I'm not going to say without the pandemic we wouldn't exist, but I mean, kind of. But it's not, I'm not saying it's a benefit.
It definitely propelled. Look, I think that the pandemic propelled a lot of folks to do things that they might not have done before in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Michelle Branch did the Spirit Room
Why?
20 years later.
Why?
What do you mean, why? I love Michelle Branch. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, I can't believe you did that. Third of all, what is happening?
I mean, Michelle Branch is fine, I guess. I would never go out of my way to listen.
All right, fine. Let's do another example. One of my students in one of my classes picked up quilting during the
that's
pandemic.
Cool. Okay.
There you
cool.
go.
Oh, comment below. What did you pick up
Interested.
during the pandemic / COVID era times?
Also, did anybody else create a gorgeous Animal Crossing island that has not been accessed in quite some time?
I'm pretty sure all of my villagers, right? Yeah, they're all dead, probably.
No, they don't die.
They all left?
Their homes just get it's an infestation of cockroaches.
Yeah. That's probably true. I did log on not that long ago, and I was like, I don't have time.
That update was real tempting, but I never did it. Yeah, it's too much to learn. Yeah, I don't know how to farm pumpkins.
But yeah, comment below. What did you start doing because of the pandemic / being isolated / still in COVID times? So.
And as a reminder, you can comment below on any piece of social media.
That's what we mean. So if you're tuning in for the first time, just message us, comment anywhere. Doesn't even have to be related to the post that we post.
Create your own post.
Yeah, whatever.
Add us.
Yeah. Speaking of, make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at A Bite of Pod. Also, there's a Discord. There's a Patreon if you feel like supporting the slow show / getting exclusive stuff and, just supporting the show in general.
That may have been our smoothest segue that has ever existed in the history of A Bite Of.
Also, bonus episodes.
Bonus. Do you want to be a patrician?
That's, oh my God.
Do you want to support us on Patreon? It's taking off. Christina Blair, she's doing it for us.
So Facebook decided, I'm not sure how you guys use Facebook, but only on mobile, on your phone, on Facebook, can you see like the podcast sections of podcasts now? And you can also comment as you're listening to the episode on there. And on desktop, you can't comment or do anything. So it's very confusing.
It's very bizarre.
Like, you got a notification, but couldn't see it. Anyway, she said that she's a proud, what do you call it? Patrician. We don't know how to spell that, so...
Yeah, she spelled it with a C. I'm wondering if it's with an S, like Parisian, like if you're from Paris, but you're in a bite of Patrician.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, make sure you're following us on those outlets / go on to Patreon if you want to. If not, we love you anyway.
We heart your support.
Yeah.
In no matter what form it comes.
Yeah. And then last little tiny tidbit of announcement, we do have a limited edition embroidered special edition Hawkeye sweatshirt up for grabs on our merch store.
Yeah, I'm really feeling these embroidered.
They're great.
Sweatshirts.
We also have an A Bite Of embroidered one.
I got that
on there
one.
now.
I got that one.
You did get that one. You were
It's
like,
so
I
cute.
want an embroidered one for
Yeah.
A Bite Of.
Give
so
me
I had
a
to
bite
make it.
of pride for these
Yeah.
chilly winter months.
All right, that's it for the announcements.
All right, so let's actually start the episode. And of course, we cannot go forward before looking back. So let's
Right.
take a look back at Hawkeye episode 3, Echoes. So flashback to little Maya Lopez, who, with the guidance of her father,
And overalls.
true, oh, those overalls, and her little shirt, it had like little planets and stuff on
It's
it.
her little cousin.
You blew my mind when you told me that.
That's
it makes
why
so much sense.
She looks so much like her because it's her cousin.
It's the same little human. It's I can't.
And she learned ASL for the role.
Oh my
That's
God,
amazing.
I love
Family
her.
coming together,
Dragon.
being in Marvel. Love it. Anyway,
So good.
continue.
Perfect casting.
Yeah.
Perfect casting.
I mean, just use family members.
Yes. So, with the guidance of her father, she learns to live as a deaf person in a hearing world, excelling at many things, especially getting face pinches from a mysterious uncle.
Wilson Fisk.
Oh. Ronan kills her father and she vows revenge.
Whoever Ronan is.
Whoever. We don't know. We don't know who's flip-flopping all over that garage that they're in. Clint and Kate are all tied up at KB Toys and have a major fight with Maya and the Tracksuit Mafia. A fantastic car chase shows off all of Clint's trick arrows, and he runs over one Santa inflatable. Of course, quote unquote, sorry, Santa.
I don't know why that felt like a sermon for some reason. Like, am I supposed to laugh at this?
Yes, I just love that when he runs over that Santa, he goes, sorry, Santa. The pair decide to look into Kazi on Kate's mom's laptop, but Clint gets a surprise from a blade to the neck.
Yay.
That's it.
I didn't know what else to say.
Yay for a cliffhanger. So, of course, before we get into episode 4, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! You've been alerted for spoilers.
It's happening.
It's happening.
All right, so spoilers from here on out.
Yes, so let us officially take a bite of Hawkeye episode 4, Partners. Am I right?
You're right. And I wish I just, watching this episode twice, I just savor this episode. The second time, I loved it so much more than the first time.
I think there's definitely a difference between watching it at
Taking
5:30
notes.
in the morning compared to a nice, comfortable evening at 6 p.m.
Yeah, why are we not big enough to get the whole series ahead of time? Come on. Marvel?
Give us those screeners, Marvel.
I do want to say, oddly, I know this is before the whole Lamentus episode that was in Loki, but this really feels like Lamentus to me, where it's not much happens. I mean, stuff happens.
Purple.
Yeah, Lamentus and Loki was very purple.
Yes.
But both of those episodes, the whole thing is the development between the two characters that this series is about.
And I feel like also in both of them, you draw a good tie between the two. It has a lot to do with revealing a past to the person.
True
you're with.
self,
Yeah.
one would
What
say.
you've gone through, what's led you here, kind of unveiling some secrets. And I think that happens in both of those episodes.
Right. So, this picks up seconds, if not the same exact scene
Moments.
from episode 3. The moment, played for maximum dramatic effect, at the end of the last one, is just quickly, it just dissipates very quickly with like patented
What are you trying to say?
Marvel humor.
Patented.
Patented.
Yeah.
That does not roll off the tongue nicely.
Patented.
Eleanor walks in on the standoff, and I put that in quotes, and asks, why is there an Avenger in my dining room? The tension was diffused very quickly.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so we were left with this cliffhanger. Oh my gosh, there's a Ronin sword to his throat, and then nothing. Literally, absolutely nothing comes from it. Also, how did Kate not realize that both of them were there?
Well, and I will say, Lucky the pizza dog, you're not a very good guard dog. I mean, he's not really a guard dog, but still, like, you didn't alert them at all that there was other people
I don't
in
know.
the house.
It just seems like you think they would have done a once-over of the apartment, just real quick.
What were they doing in the kitchen area? Just kind of just
Maybe it's that whole second floor situation. Were they
Just
boinking?
sipping tea.
Was she getting Ralph Bonered?
Oh,
I
no.
know. I shouldn't have said that.
How dare you?
I shouldn't have said that.
No. I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
not Vera Farmiga. I mean, probably
Well,
Vera Farmiga.
Well, I
Get
mean,
it,
I
girl.
have some thoughts about Vera Farmiga.
Get
It's
it.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
After some additional banter, there is some discussion about what exactly Hawkeye is doing. Kate suggests that she's helping him with the case. Kate does her best to tell the Hawkeyes' relationship as partners and even friends, while Clint politely yet firmly shoots both down claims.
He says, nah. Nah.
So rude at this point. Like, come on. Everyone involved clearly finds the situation a bit awkward, including the viewers, because I kind of did as well. But they nevertheless take things more or less with stride. It was too easy.
Yeah, and this whole conversation happens at some sort of table, right? Where there are like katanas in the middle of them. Like
More swords.
Right?
Swords
so
everywhere.
here's my grievance.
Their knives in their kitchen are mini tiny swords.
Not
Not even daggers, just mini swords.
That I support. I support that. But the thing that I don't understand is that, so wait, who collects swords?
Swordsman.
Right. So he moved all of his swords
Yeah, that's weird.
into the Bishop penthouse?
Well, they are engaged, so I assume they live together.
All of them. Like
No.
the decor. The decor is based on
Probably
swords.
not even all of the swords.
Well, even, okay, 42% of his swords have been moved into the Bishop apartment. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense.
I'm just telling you, if you moved into my place and were like, oh, I'm going to bring some things. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, bring your clothes and your toothbrush. But you brought a truckload of swords and just
Right.
put them through the place. I'd
Right.
be like, this is odd.
I agree. I'm with you. I don't understand.
But
we
that's
got him
why
on the
she can't
table.
be
We got him
trusted.
on the wall.
She can't be trusted.
No, she can't be trusted.
No.
Because guess what? She loves swords too. Because guess what? She's Madam Swordsman.
Or Madam Mask.
Madam
One of
Mask.
the two, yeah.
What if she's both? They're getting
But-
married. She's gonna take his name.
The swordsman character even warmly thanks Clint for saving the world. All in all, the scene is a delightful, and I put that kind of in quotes, introduction to the Bishop family, and highlights the buddy cop chemistry between Kate
Yes.
and Clint.
I do like though that like she's so Eleanor. I mean, Eleanor is probably Madam Mask, right? That's sort of our guess.
Or something.
Something. Evil. But she's still Kate's mom.
Right.
Yes. And so she's like, so you're telling me that my daughter is in an Avengers level threat. And he's like, no, because it is sort of funny. It's literally just like Clint's dirty laundry.
Right. With Kate's new not really stepdad involved in it.
Yeah.
So that's really the only reason why she's continuously involved.
Yeah. It's not like level like earth destroying Avengers. It's like, I guess it's like an Avengers TV show.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like, this is where, like, I think that the writing for Jack's character, Swordsman, whatever you want to call it, it's too hammed up in a way where it's like he didn't even remember Clint's like moniker, his Avengers / superhero name. He's like Archer or something like that, and it's like you've got to be really disconnected from everything to be like, oh, I know you're an Avenger, but I'm just going to say something that you remotely do, but don't know your name. It's very suspicious.
Like, could we see it as a power play?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
like he's going out of his way to be lame.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're obviously just trying to throw off the scent.
Look, someone who knows fencing that much is quite fancy and knows exactly what they're doing.
Well, right. He's not dumb. He's trying to play this weird kind of like slimy, suave. Like, just, I don't like it.
I don't even know if it's slimy. It feels like I'm aloof. I don't know what's going on. I'm so silly when he
It's
knows
gross.
everything.
Yeah. Eleanor is not okay with Kate running around with Clint, and it's very apparent. And that kind of comes back to either she doesn't want him being too close to what's happening behind closed doors, and also probably balancing, like, this is my daughter, the only family that, from the immediate family that's left. No. As Clint makes his exit, Eleanor makes him pretty much be like, you know what happened to Natasha. You can't have this happen with her. It was a very like bold and intimidating thing
yeah.
for her to do. She pretty much like walks him out and was like, I don't want her involved in this. Like, look at Natasha. She didn't make it out. It's like, it's interesting that you specifically pinpointed Natasha with Hawkeye. Like, does everybody know who's best friends with who in Avengers?
Oh my God. Yeah, the tabloids are all over it. They
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure.
But this to me was like the verbal equivalent of rubbing salts in the wounds.
Yeah. I mean, this show is really like, I'm glad we're finally seeing like somebody miss Natasha a little bit. Because we got the Black Widow movie, but it's like
Right.
they kind of just kept going after she died.
Yeah, and also, flash forward to a little later in this episode, we needed to be reminded about Natasha.
Well, that's why
another
like
reason.
4 or 5 times in this episode, Natasha's brought up.
Exactly. Don't forget, wink, Black Widow, wink, Natasha, wink. And also she does this, like, Eleanor does this, like, sort of like sly thing where she's like, so you'll forget about this case, right? I'm like, girl, is that for your benefit?
Obviously.
Obviously. I don't think that's for Kate. Okay, that's for you.
And I mean, she could be a red herring. I mean, it really could just be Jack, and it doesn't have to be Eleanor, but I don't trust the whole thing.
She's having too many secret conversations either on the phone or with people who are now dead.
They're all too cool about everything. They're all too calm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little weird. I do want to say that Jeremy Renner's performance in this scene and throughout this episode is incredibly like emotive and underplay, and he continues to finally give this character some depth. It's something that we've needed for this character. We're finding out more and more and more about this character, and it's that thing that was always missing, because it was like, okay, he works for S.H.I.E.L.D., and then, he's part of the Avengers, but he's not doing anything.
And I feel like this is the Avenger that has needed depth. He's like the last of the originals.
Well, it took forever for Black Widow to get the freaking spotlight.
Right. And even look at Wanda and Vision, right? We got their show to round out who they are as characters.
But even those two as examples, they've had more time to understand who they are, where they came from, what makes them tick, and then kind of just more screen time and better scenes than Hawkeye. Like literally Hawkeye is the lowest on the totem pole for this, that like he just hasn't gotten anything. He's had like some cool like slow-mo behind shooting, blah, 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 whatever, but nothing after that. Yeah. But finally. So outside of the penthouse, Clint texts his wife for help looking up Sloan. The pretty much the organization that is connected to Jack. He has also suddenly stolen the Ronin sword, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So huzzah on that one.
Good job.
Yeah.
Someone's been watching The Great.
Shut up.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. I try to slip it in there. I also, so we talked about it in the first episode we did of this. The texting needs to stop.
It's terrible.
He literally pressed I to send the message.
He pressed something and 3 more letters showed up with one. I can't with this.
I mean, if he had the swiping function on, it would make sense, but
no, there was no swiping function. There was no predictive text.
He has a Tony Stark exclusive
Stony Tark?
Yeah, phone that just literally is connected to his mind, and he has to pretend to text to type it.
I don't agree with that. I just think that this was a poor choice.
Yeah, just show it on the side. You know, you don't have to show them actually texting it on the screen.
I'm with you.
After Clint leaves the Eleanor Bishop apartment, she makes an urgent phone call, likely tipping off Yelena about Clint and Kate's snooping. I don't know if it's Yelena, but it's somebody. Like it's so weird.
Why? So she says it's urgent. Why is it urgent?
Right. Did she call
Eleanor?
Kingpin? Did she call Yelena? Did she call Allegra de Fontaine? Val. I mean, who is she calling at this point? Because it has to be revealed, or it has to, I don't know. I don't think they're to me. It feels like the tracksuits are kind of
Jack's thing,
maybe, or it's just like, even if they're part of Kingpin's kind of like criminal empire or whatever, they're kind of like just the goon. Like, it doesn't seem like they have the nicest digs and like.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't think that she's gonna really muddle around with them.
Who is she talking to?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to say. And then one side note: why is nobody acknowledging Lucky the Pizza Dog? Like she literally just brought this dog in the apartment and nobody else.
I don't know. Maybe millionaires just are like, oh, there's a dog here. Delightful.
Yeah. That's just Kate being Kate.
Oh, crazy Kate. She just brings dogs over. This one only has one eye. Delightful. Who wants a martini?
Are you what? That's how her mom talks.
Listen, I watch enough Gilmore Girls to see how rich people talk, okay? That's how Emily Gilmore talks. She's like, welcome, Lorelai. Who wants a drink? Oh,
Okay.
your coat is so dashing. I hate you.
Okay.
I just summed up all of Gilmore Girls.
You literally didn't.
I did.
But it's fine.
I did.
No. So Clint chats with his wife, the great Linda Cardinelli.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Velma.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Velma, if you will.
Oh, by the way, all parents need to know a second language so they can talk in front of their children.
Yeah.
German.
Yeah. She tells him that Jack is actually the CEO of a company responsible for laundering money to the tracksuit mafia. So who would have thought?
Also, what Google is she hooked up to that she can get all this intel?
She's not hooked up to Google. She has connections, I'm pretty sure.
Who are the connections? This is my question.
But she also asks about the Rolex that was stolen from the weird rich guy auction underneath her mother's gala thing. So it was interesting. She was the one that brought it up. That brings us to the segment of this episode where we talk about Miss Laura Barton. I was going to say Burton, not Tim Burton's wife.
No.
Laura Barton. For so long, she has been seen as a supportive character. She's gotten so much more screen time in this thing, which I think is interesting. And she's showing a little more layers to her character, knowing German, like you said, knowing things about things that were in the Avengers compound that,
Yep.
I mean, why would Clint tell her about a watch?
Yeah. That's a good question, though, is like, sorry to segue. It just feels like if he's trying to keep his family safe, he sure is getting his wife involved in a lot of this.
But I don't think she's involved in it because of him. I think she's involved in it because she was already involved in it. We don't know anything about them prior to Age of Ultron. It was just revealed that, oh, by the way, I've been married and I have a kid.
Surprise, West Coast Avengers already exists.
No, not at all. But it is interesting because this in particularly suggests that there's more to her than it seems. Like she's not just in the loop because her husband is a superhero, but she's more in the loop. She knows specific things. She's the one that brought up the Rolex.
Right.
So I think it's very interesting. Yeah. We know that technically there has been a Mockingbird in the MCU. Andrini Pilecki, she played it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a few years ago. We know that. But she never went by the moniker Mockingbird. She just had Bobby Morse as her name, which is Mockingbird's name, but never went by Mockingbird. And I'm sure if any of you have been involved in the online conversation about this episode, it's seeming like Laura might be Mockingbird. And it kind of makes some sense. She is directly connected to S.H.I.E.L.D., it seems like. We know that Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. gave him that farm for his family to be on, but she knows a lot more than she's letting on. She knows German, for one, just right off the bat, just slips into German when she doesn't want her children to know. And it seems like...
Spy qualities.
Right.
Spy qualities.
Espionage. And it seems like their kids know.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's done that enough to where the kids are like, oh, she's talking to dad.
Yeah.
Like it's not. She's just interesting.
Yeah. No, it really is, and I do like them also by way of Clint's series rounding out his family a little bit.
I mean, about time, but yeah,
and it's exciting. I mean, I think that we like this character. She's getting more depth as well, and we're kind of now questioning how does she have all this intel?
Yeah, it could be the result of Marvel wanting to show what constitutes a healthy relationship for when you're with somebody that's a superhero. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of on their toes, they know certain things, and they're like really involved. But I mean, from a narrative standpoint, it would kind of make sense that she is Mockingbird or somebody that's more involved.
Yeah, and I mean, by way of like Marvel standards, if someone has like a super serious love interest that they're willing to be open about what they do, they're going to be a superhero, right? We have like Peggy Carter, we have Pepper Potts. Why not Laura Barton?
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah.
And just for people that may not know who Mockingbird is, in the comics, Clint is closely tied to Mockingbird. She is one of his known partners and love interests. The two have a long history together where, like Clint and Laura, married superheroes. Though, unfortunately, it did not last in the comics. Just saying.
Right.
If you read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, you know that he kind of has a track record of people he's been with.
But they do remain close.
They do.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but they do.
Ooh.
After meeting in the field, they went to lead the West Coast Avengers together, and following their divorce, Mockingbird worked closely with S.H.I.E.L.D. as one of their top agents. It seems like, because again, back to your thing, like, how did she use Google? I don't think she used Google. I think she might either have a connection with S.H.I.E.L.D. or still knows how to access those databases or something like that. I mean, we could be grasping at straws at this point, but it's interesting. Like, it's kind of a weird flip for the character almost.
I mean, I also think the obvious, though, Hawkeye, Mockingbird.
Well, that was, yeah.
Of course they have to be married. They're both avian.
Not in like actual characteristic.
Yes,
No.
they're aviary. They're both named after birds. Of course they have to be married. It just makes sense. In like 1960s Marvel standards, of course it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah, a little
Birds
bit.
marry birds.
Okay.
Captains marry captains.
Sorceresses marry robots.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I want to say, I honestly
Red
forgot.
marries red.
I forgot about this watch. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's literally the thing that started the whole events of Hawkeye, and I forgot about it.
And the thing that we have to wonder is, why is Laura so concerned with the watch?
More, she's the one that brought it up.
Right, exactly.
So we'll see. We'll figure it out. I think I do want to.
She's Thanos.
I want to shut up. I want to amend a statement that I did say in the first episode that we did, and I said, "Oh, it's probably Tony Stark's. It looks like it has the arc reactor thing on it." That was just me not understanding it was on what a normal watch looked like. I guess it does not have any of that on there. So
Maybe they swapped out props.
yeah, I'm sure. So back in the penthouse, Eleanor complains about how Kate has always been obsessed with Hawkeye. Eleanor and Jack dance. And is it just me, or is it pretty awkward? Like, who are they trying to prove that they're in love or they're in a relationship? It's weird.
Hashtag cringe. It is the cringiest moment in all of the MCU.
Yeah, pretty close.
It's so awful. And I don't know if it's just because
we don't like
actors, we don't like them, or if it's because the actors have no chemistry, but it is the most forced thing I have ever seen, and it was awful. I could barely get through it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, Farmiga does have good chemistry, but I feel like because of the way he acts, it just doesn't seem so genuine, because it's almost like you believe a couple is a couple, or people like each other when they're just able to be with each other. But when you have to constantly show that you love this person,
Yeah.
in that being defending them the whole time, or uplifting them way too much, or dancing with them randomly while this soon-to-be probably stepdaughter is staring at you.
That's what grosses me out the
weird.
most. Yeah, dancing in front of Kate, smooching. It's too much. It's just too much.
Yeah, and I did want to point out too, and this is probably just WandaVision messing with my head, but the cup of tea / coffee that he was drinking out of, Jack, had a bunch of hexagons. And also both of the seats that Eleanor and Jack were sitting on had a bunch of hexagons. I'm not saying that, sword is involved, but it's interesting.
Guess what? All of Hawkeye is also part of
WandaVision.
WandaVision. Yeah, exactly.
I would love it. It's
She's
been
projecting
Agatha
this whole thing.
all
It was
along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's how this is gonna end. They're like, we told you, purple. Catherine Hahn's just gonna lower from the penthouse.
Oh, purple, Hawkeye.
Purple.
It all makes sense now.
We figured it out. That's it. End the podcast.
Eleanor ends up asking Kate about helping with security with their upcoming Christmas party, which, I mean, look out for the Christmas party, because it's probably going to be the setting for a large-scale mayhem before the season is up.
Yes, I can't wait.
And yeah, I'm going to bet my entire collection of trick arrows on that.
And boy,
Which
do
I have
we
none,
a
so
collection.
hopefully with this bet I will gain some.
Win for us.
Exactly.
Smart gambling,
Cough
sir.
them up, people. And it just, this bet, I can't not say it, but life is short. You never know what you're going to get. The saying that Jack says, like, this is where I go into the whole, you're not dumb. Like, it seems like you're just trying to act like you're kind of innocent by just going too far. It's life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
what
Forrest
the saying
Gump,
is.
for sure. But also, like, I'm sorry, Eleanor, but, like, I don't know. Don't call your man out like that in front of your daughter.
Why not?
She's all like, you're so fucking dumb. I didn't appreciate that.
And
And
she's hamming it up also.
Listen,
For
just
sure.
because you have a gorgeous silk shirt with pearl buttons doesn't mean you can laugh like that. It's not okay. It's not okay.
It's fine.
Don't agree. Comment below.
Back at Kate's aunt's apartment, that's a lot of A's and U's, Clint gets some frozen daiquiri mix to ice down his bruises. But recovery is interrupted when Kate and the pizza dog arrive with pizza and a Christmas tree and some other merriment things. Kate is attempting to have some holiday cheer. Before the merriment ensues, Clint tells Kate about Sword Boy Jack laundering money to tracksuits, and Kate decides to celebrate while planning. She seems, I think she knows that he's bad news, and so she's kind of like, let's make a plan to figure this out, but oh well, let's continue this.
Yeah, and I think her visit stems from the fact that her mom is saying what's better than spending time with family. And so she realizes that Clint is not with his family when he really wants to be with his family.
Because of her mother.
Right.
/ the secret rich guy auction.
Exactly. So she goes over there to kind of make merry and be there for him, which is showing that she has an emotional intelligence that she's willing to follow.
Yeah, especially when it doesn't involve Sword Boy over there.
Yeah.
I think
She
she's
just wants to
very
get away.
invested.
Yeah. So it's good for her. It's good for him. She gets away from Sword Boy, but she also gets to be with Clint and make him feel better.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a movie marathon night, right? Which is super sweet because she does remember that. That was the night. The nights leading up or days leading up to Christmas, there's supposed to be a different thing every day with this family. And she's like, I brought movies.
And the first movie we see is The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen, which is, of course, now streaming on Disney+.
Also not a plug because we're not getting paid by them. So watch it or don't. I don't care.
True, but I'm just saying Disney+ ain't playing no games. They said,
No.
guess what? You better have The Santa Claus starring Tim Allen.
That's the funny thing about these streaming services that are owned by companies like Apple and Disney and stuff like that, because they can showcase stuff like that.
Yep.
Before you would see chips that were like pretzels and they were like pretzels, but it was not the correct name.
Oh, yeah.
But now they can like just have the thing like Apple TV. They love to have Mac products.
Oh, yeah. They
all
said,
throughout.
sorry, iCarly, you can take your Pear phone and shove it.
She hands Clint an ugly sweater. They put up the tree. It's a Wonderful Life plays warmly on the very old television set. The best part of Hawkeye remains to be their relationship. And this scene particularly reminds me of Sylvie and Loki talking before the meteors come and destroy Lamentus and all that. But this is what the show is about. It's for us to get to know Kate, for us to get to know Clint, and to get to know them together and see the relationship grow. Because what makes the heart grow fonder is a strong bond.
And alcohol. Frozen daiquiri.
Not the absence of it. This Christmas party allows the two for them to actually kind of have some fun in the show. The little coin snap lesson / I think it was part of an ornament. I was like, oh, it's a coin.
Yeah.
But I think it was part of an ornament. I don't know what kind of ornament this is, but whatever.
A coinament.
Yeah, it did make me smile. I liked it because we got to see there's a scene in Matt Fraction's Hawkeye where he teaches her, and they did mention it in this conversation, that they do the whole getting an arrow to hit another arrow and split. And that's where he mentions you have to have the first one as wood. This was essentially replacing that.
Yeah.
Like he's teaching her this trick that he knows of being able to really just aim about anything. He's verging on Daredevil's bullseye just a little bit.
Yeah, but in Fraction's comic, we also see this skill. He shares it with his brother.
Right.
from when they were little,
Right.
and they used it to knock over beer bottles. And you meet
Who
his
does not exist in
no,
the
I was
show.
just going to say, and you meet the brother in the comic, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be showing up here. He's kind of a sketchy character as well. But
Right.
I like that they took that little tidbit and then used it to pair Clint and Kate in this series.
Yeah, and I feel like because this scene was kind of dragged out a little bit, this whole coin thing, I feel like it's going to come into play later. Like maybe a Christmas party that she has to do security
The
at.
party's going to explode unless she can get that coin to hit the detonator, baby.
But he did say that it doesn't work with regular coins or specific types of coins, so we have to make sure.
Oh yeah,
she
it has
the
to
right
be
one.
like thicker, right? It can't be like a dime or something like that. It's got to be better than that.
Right. So it's going to be interesting. They do loosen up and talk about the case, the pros and cons of boomerang arrows. Pros, they come back. Cons, they come back. Which I love this because, again, it goes back to Matt Fraction's comic. Same conversation happens, but it's reversed. She's like, boomerang arrows are dumb. He's like, but they come back. So the conversation's reversed. And I like that they keep reversing these roles a little bit because the interesting thing that the comic did for Hawkeye was give him a little personality. And in this one, they kind of gave Kate the more like enthusiastic personality than Clint. Because he went through some things.
Well, right. And also, I feel like you can't, like you said, have a character that's gone through some things and also has been, for lack of a better word, a little dull his entire time in the MCU, be effervescent and fun. So we have to give that fun to someone else. But I think it's a nice counterbalance, her levity to his more seriousness. We need that. And I think that Kate, in the long run, other than picking up his mantle, is going to show him that there can be levity in what they're doing as superheroes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, until Black Widows show up, and then we got too real, man.
Ooh. Talk about your past coming back to haunt you.
I do hope there's a scene in this show, like at the end, or maybe even the only end credit scene that we get for this, but her aunt comes back, Moira, and it's just like, who the fuck has been in my apartment?
Who
and that's
drew
it.
my posters?
And then the series ends.
Yeah. But so I'm like wondering about the aunt, right? So in this scene, we see Clint drinking out of a mug that says Thanos was right.
Right.
And so it makes me feel like the world is very divided.
Oh, yeah.
Much like it is now, and it like in real life. And it feels like there are people who are like Thanesians or something like that who feel that
Don't
Thanos
compare them to to the Parisians.
No, that's Patricians. How dare you?
Patricians. There we go. See, that's why it's confusing for me.
I'm doing like theology, like theologists or something like that. Like they're Thanesians. Like they side with Thanos, and so it's like that kind of speaks interesting of her aunt that she has this mug.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to Falcon and Winter Soldier. You saw what people were going through kind of during / post blip, where the only people that mattered were the people that were blipped and came back. And then everybody else that had to survive for 5 years just kind of was fucked over after those people came back. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
So you're saying you're a supporter of the Thanos supporters?
No, but there is some. That's what makes him a good villain, and that's what makes complicated villains good villains, because you can agree with their ideology or what they're trying to propagate. It's just how they go about it. That's not the right way.
Right.
Technically, Thanos is right. The resources are dwindling. There's not enough. There's too many people. There's overpopulation, stuff like that. The answer is not killing half of the universe.
Right. So that's my point, though. What is to say of the person who supports the person that thinks killing half the universe is the right answer?
Yeah, maybe she wasn't blipped and she.
Right. That's what I mean.
Goes by Carly and, just.
Oh, Carly Morgenthau is Kate Bishop's aunt.
Yes.
Gotcha.
No. She has a good maybe 2 years on her. But in this conversation, things take a darker turn when Kate asks Clint about the best shot he ever took. Turns out the one that he never took was the one that was intended for Natasha, the unlikely best friend he saved only to lose. And I'm sorry I wrote that, but I had to write it, and it made me sad to write that.
And I think it's interesting as this relationship is growing. He's letting it happen, but it almost feels like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back situation with Kate, because I think that he's seeing glimmers of Natasha in Kate. And so every time he sees that, he needs to push her away again because he's afraid that she's going to get hurt.
Well, I feel like he's doing that to every single person, that especially that he feels for, because he lost Natasha, which I feel like he probably thought he never would, because Natasha is a Black Widow and also Natasha, and she's formidable, and you think they're immortal. They would never die or anything like that, but she sacrificed herself for him. So that probably made him feel like shit. So he's just like, no, nobody is allowed to be around me anymore. I'm just going to close myself off completely. It is sad, but it makes sense.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but I just think that it's his way of protecting himself and those around him. He doesn't want anybody to get tangled in his web because he's seen how his web can destroy those who are close to him.
Yeah, and about time that they really let us sit with losing Natasha. Because yes, her movie was like a swan song for her. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, the multiverse is just really leaving everything up in the air at this point. But even at the end of Endgame, we got a funeral for Tony, but didn't get anything until the end credits for Black Widow. So I'm glad that we're finally starting to like deal with it, talk about it.
We're all processing Natasha's death together.
Right, exactly. And this is where they mention the blip, and that's phase 4 is all about the blip. What happened with the blip? What caused it? Who was lost? All of that stuff. And they talk about people dealt with it differently. He did what he was trained to do, which was investigate, but mostly kill, because he's good at killing people. And this is where he finally tells her that, or she kind of flat out was like, "You were Ronin," and he's like, "Yeah." But she does brush it off pretty easily, or at least, I mean, it's her lifelong hero. So, of course, she's going to be like, I understand why you did it. She pretty much forged her whole life because her father passed away, and she did that. I think her knowing the kind of guy he is and knowing how he feels about his family and stuff like that, he did deal with it not in the best way, but that's how he dealt with it. But he's not like that anymore. And she knows that. So, of course, she's kind of like, okay, let's move on from that and deal with it.
I completely agree. I think it has to do with her seeing how we all deal with loss and with grief, and, I also think she's a bit of a realist in the sense of like, all right, sometimes heroes have to kill people. Maybe you don't do it in the best way, and maybe it's sort of underground and scary, but she's willing to see that heroes sometimes need to do their work, and it might end in death, but are you doing it for the greater good?
Or on the flip side, not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying like a different perspective. Maybe she's just kind of naive.
Oh yeah, I mean, she could just be yesing him to death.
Yeah,
because she's like he's like her number one celebrity and her idol. Of course,
like I don't want to give her too much benefit of the doubt. Like this isn't like comic book Kate Bishop, where she's just like, she's pretty much always dead on. But this one, she probably is yesing him a lot, but she's not dumb. So like, I don't want to take that away from her.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like if someone told me, like someone I was very close to told me they did something like that, I'd be like to their face, like, oh yeah, totally, yeah. And then like later on, like just like walk out of the room and be like, what the fuck is happening?
I have a confession.
You're Ronin.
Yeah, which just means that when you go to bed, I put on a black hoodie and I run around with the foam sword. And
I do go to bed quite early.
You do.
And I could definitely see that happening.
Just run around the neighborhood getting possums off of people's trash cans.
I mean, you're more of a Robin Hood than a Ronin, for sure.
You're welcome.
Saving people from the evils of suburbia.
But and the conversation continues a little bit, and Clint, sadly but reasonably and understandably, describes himself as a weapon and someone who hurts people. And this casts an unexpected, especially during the scene, dark shadow over the hero and gives the impression of a man trapped by his own purpose. So I think that's a side of Clint that we never really saw before, because in Avengers, if you remember, he was brainwashed by Loki. Before that, he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent guarding Mjolnir. And now he just joined the Avengers, but it's like, what about prior to that? We know about all the other people. He was a trained killer. I think that he's always just, especially when everything's broken down, that's just the mode that he goes back to. So he's just kind of trapped by what is the purpose of what he does if even when he tried to be good and not kill people, he loses the closest person to him. That's really sad. And I don't like Christmas stories that get sad.
Oh, they always have to get sad before they get good.
Yeah. And
I mean, Clint Barton is just like, he's singing reflection. He just says, when will my reflection know
didn't
who
you already
I
sing
am
this
inside?
when we've been covering this?
No, first time.
Do you really?
When will my reflection show?
Comment below if Derek
who
has sung
I am
this season.
Yeah. It's the Christina Aguilera version.
Before we leave this conversation and the merriment with the daiquiris, the main lesson that I feel, and I'm pretty sure Clint is trying to teach his overeager protege, is the idea that a superhero's life is serious and ultimately a game of managing loss. When he said that, that was pretty hard. And I think that's why these street level characters / us seeing this different side of Marvel, again, the street level, and why the Netflix shows did so well, is because it wasn't about spectacle and it was about the person having to do these things that nobody else could.
Mm.
And just hearing him say managing loss, it's like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the lesson was don't drink daiquiris on an empty stomach, but I think you're right.
Also, that they had pizza. It wasn't empty.
How many slices?
It did look pretty small.
We had at least 3 blender cutscenes in there.
That was true. There was a green one, a blue one, and a red one.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a lot of daiquiris.
And he had at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 daiquiri mix packages on him.
I guess my question is, per package, how many people can you serve? Are we thinking it's at least 2, or is it one package per person?
No, it's a mix, and you're supposed to be able to make a whole pitcher with
A
it.
party.
I know
Party
this
pack.
because I would steal them from my mother and then bring them to my friend's house and do that.
I've never had them.
It's kind of like doing, what's that fucking box wine? Frazia?
Oh, I love that.
Right, but you wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to do that now. You probably do like a black box type box
Oh, that's
wine
true.
situation.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Not that one now, but that's kind of how that
I see.
was. It was like the Capri Sun.
Well, yeah, no, my friends and I, we would get Smirnoff ices. That's what we would do when we were teenagers.
Oh,
Because the local bodega would give it to us.
that's not appropriate, but good for you.
Listen.
Easy.
All kids manage to find a way to get some alcohol, apparently, and we just have different ways of doing
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. And when you're one of 6, it was very easy to sneak things away.
I believe it.
As the festivities come to an end and the Hawkeyes go to bed, Clint has flashbacks of his time as Ronin, going on a killing spree that we've never seen before. I just want to point that out. There was a flash of never seen him do that killing move before. And to losing Natasha on the godforsaken planet, which we've seen in Avengers Endgame. This episode is heavily on the playful banner, and Haley Steinfeld and Raynor are excellent at it. But again, they're trying to, one, remind us that Black Widow existed.
Remember her?
Yeah. But also build on this relationship of why the show was created in the first place. To not only give Hawkeye his moment in the spotlight, but to build this relationship between them. And I think they did an excellent job in this episode of doing that. I very much liked it and appreciated it. The next morning, the Botastic duo split up. Clint asked Kate to retrieve the bag of trigger arrows that are currently in NYPD custody. She enlists the help of the LARPers, girls Missy and Wendy, to help. Smash cut to her going to like Central Park, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And finding the LARPers very easily. Probably looked them up on Instagram again. And they're practicing. Side note, I love the guy with the staff saying, ice wall. And doing
I very much love this community of
I love
folks
it.
coming together in the park. It's a beautiful thing.
About time Marvel showed that, I mean, there's all different types of people in this community.
Heck yeah.
LARPers included.
I mean, I do think it's funny, though, that Kate can walk through Manhattan
With a bow and arrow.
A bow and arrow and a quill full of arrows. Just like, okay.
That quiver is packed to the brim.
It is full
with arrows, and they're just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
To be fair, she is heading towards where LARPers are, so they're probably like, it's fine. It's all probably fake. It's not fake.
It's not fake.
It's not fake.
They're
at all.
real.
I do want to say, so of these characters we meet, there's 3 particular ones that we meet a little later that go back to Moyer's apartment. And that's Grills, Missy, and Wendy. Wendy Conrad is a person in the comics. So this is fun. This is a very deep cut, but Bombshell triggered my memory with Hawkeye comics. And I was like, I know who this woman is. I doubt that this is going to go anywhere, but I have to say it because it's fun. Easter eggs. That's what we're here for. Wendy Conrad in Hawkeye is an NYPD cop, but in the comics, she's a villain known as Bombshell. Hence why her bag was embroidered Bombshell. That's directly referenced in the show. And there's that guy that fist bumped her?
Mm-hmm.
That guy's name is Orville, which they kind of say very briefly. Orville is directly connected to Bombshell as Oddball. That's their villain moniker name, I just want to say. And I have to say his powers, who he is, Oddball.
Tell me.
So Bombshell is just one that's their affinity is like explosives. Got it, whatever. They just carry bombs around and whatever. Oddball taught her how to juggle. He literally, his powers, if you look him up on any wiki, marvel.com or whatever, he's an expert juggler. That's what Oddball is. And it's because the balls he juggles with have specific things. So let's talk about Oddball's balls.
Oh.
He has burning balls, which are burning
Never
balls.
a good thing.
Corrosive liquid inside of a fragile ball. So pretty much acid in a ball.
Acid balls.
Knockout gas balls. That's kind of cool. Ice balls. Blue balls, if you will. Smoke balls that act as smoke grenades. Solid rubber balls to cause blunt damage.
Ouch.
Spiked balls to cause edged damage.
Edged.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally all the different types of balls that I could find on Oddball.
I will say this.
Please look him up. He's ridiculous.
I will now have to look him up. But I have to say this. I think, you know what? Take what you're good at and let it lead you.
Sure.
Villain or hero, if you're an expert juggler, go for it.
Yeah.
Anyone can rise to what they need to be.
Good or bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not supporting him being a villain,
Yeah.
but if all he's got is juggling and some big balls, then go for it.
They're not really that big. They're like literal, like just juggling balls.
I don't really know what
And his costume has a bunch of balls on it.
well,
Colorful too.
I
Think
support
circus.
this.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Well, I'll post
Where
a
else
picture
is he
somewhere.
going to store his balls?
Yeah. All of this segue. While Clint pays
Not
a
our
visit
smoothest.
to Kazi. I literally didn't know how to transition it. I had to
Just-
talk about them, and then I was like, where?
You're just like, balls. So the next scene,
He pays Kazi a visit.
speaking of balls,
Yeah. Clint sits menacingly in the backseat of a car while grilling his target. Kazi gets in the car and Clint's in there. And I did like it because typically the villain is in the backseat in this scenario. And the reversal of this trope makes it an honest look at the more gnarly aspects of our Hawkeye
well,
friend.
does the villain know they're the villain, or is Hawkeye the villain of the villain? Do you know what I'm saying?
right. I mean,
the
a
villain is
villain-
the hero of their own story.
Right. A villain just thinks the hero is the villain of their story. So everybody's a hero or villain depending on your perspective. So it's fine.
So Clint is the villain in the backseat.
Well, to Kazi, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. But to us, he's the hero in the backseat where typically the villain is.
Confusing.
Clint wants out of the city, and as he says, I don't want anyone else to die. There, again, in this conversation, there's more references to the big man, who we can almost guarantee is Kingpin.
Galactus. Oh.
Right. No, oh my God, everybody's dead at this point.
Mephisto.
No.
It's got to
No.
be Mephisto.
No. And this scene really does. I feel like maybe we're kind of getting glimpses of what the Echo TV show might be a little bit like, because this kind of seemed like a tense crimes TV show scene.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? So like, who's to say what her show is going to be like? But it did seem a little different from the kind of Christmassy background that we've seen.
Yeah, anytime you're seeing only someone's eyes in a rearview mirror,
Right.
You're in a different genre.
Right.
You're in
Exactly. You get it.
I'm
glad you get it.
I got you.
Clint then meets up with Kate and the LARPers. The LARPers want materials for new costumes. And Kate suggests that they make a couple of new costumes for them as well. That's kind of their agreement. They're like, okay, we'll help you get these trick arrows from NYPD, but you have to give us something else in return.
Yeah. These LARPers have a lot of rules. Like when we saw Clint going in there, they're like, no. You cannot just walk into a LARPing event without going through a journey. You have to sign the waiver and you have to go in there and you have to be a character.
Same thing with this.
Yeah. And then she's like, hey, I need Hawkeye and Avengers arrows back, please. They were like, guess what? You got to give us something to get some.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's been some comics in the perspective of people or like the cleanup crew for comic like heroes and stuff like that. You have to think that like regular people, i.e. the guy that was in the elevator towards the end of this episode with Kate, where it's like they probably don't appreciate superheroes a lot because especially first responders probably make their job a lot harder even though they're saving people. You know what I mean? So it's probably like you got to give a little bit. Because, like, we do superhero work, too. Maybe we don't do it with arrows, but hello.
I mean, I'm all right, but stop making it so arduous. Just help them, you guys.
At the end of this LARPers interlude, the LARP cop gives Hawkeye his bag of trick arrows. Only it's her bag. My wife gave me... Did I say my wife?
My wife
gave me
Borat
this bag.
is here on the podcast today.
I'm so
He
sorry,
said,
guys.
My wife.
Let me say that again. Jeez, I triggered Derek too by that. Saying that. It's my wife gave me this bag where we get a Captain America therapy session and Endgame marginally LGBTQ character kind of introduced. Hey, at this point, we'll take it because hopefully there will be more and a more spotlighty character in our community.
Yeah, we need more of a person in the forefront to be part of the LGBTQ community in the MCU. But I do like the idea of us normalizing a character saying my wife who identifies as a woman and my husband who identifies as a man. You know, right now it's still like, oh, they're LGBTQ, but hopefully the goal is that someday any side character in passing can reference their partner and it be a same-sex relationship.
I'm like, oh, it's sweet. Her wife embroidered that on her bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And not us having to be like, look, they made a gay.
I feel like us growing up where there wasn't any of that, we'll probably still be doing that. But my hopes is that the little tiny baby LGBTQ people that are growing up at this time will not have to be in that world.
Oh, 100%. It was like every time a Real World cast was announced, I was like, please let one be gay.
Who's the gay one?
Please. I need to see myself on the TV, please.
Right. So now the Rolex, the whole end half of this is about the Rolex.
Hey.
The events, or rather the show, just like I said earlier, can all be traced back to a single unsuspecting object, a vintage Rolex watch. It was first mentioned during the premiere when Maya orders her tracksuit minions to retrieve it from the black market auction headed underneath Eleanor Bishop's charity gala. I have to get through it because I already kind of said it.
That was barely language.
Comment below, you heard it. All the information we had on the Rolex at this time was that it was recovered from the remains of the Avengers compound. In this episode, though, we're beginning to learn that it might play a bigger part beyond putting this Ronin storyline was supposed to be one word, in motion. During the LARPers meeting, Laura texts Clint that she knows where the watch is. So she's still on the mission to help him.
Yeah, and by the way, anything that has anything to remotely do with an Avenger has some sort of tracking beacon in it. His arrows had a tracker arrow.
Sense.
The watch has a tracker in it. My butt has a tracker in it.
Whoa.
Everything's got trackers in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it makes sense.
Does it?
It's fictional. You just have to give over to
Does it?
No, it doesn't make sense at all. Smash cut again to Clint and Kate on an adjacent rooftop about to steal a watch back. I love that in this moment, because I love Kate so much and just her attitude and Haley Steinfeld's version of this character, that as he's laying out his stealthy plan on the entrance into this apartment building, Kate disappears and just walks into the building. It's so good.
I love that.
With the giant bow.
Yes, again. But I also love she says something to him and he goes, "That's what you think." And she goes, "Exactly. That's
Right.
why I said it."
Right.
That is the only comeback, the best comeback I've ever heard to "That's what you think." Exactly. That's why I said it.
Right.
I'm using that
Which it
forever.
makes sense now. Like she is finally, this show just made that line make sense.
Absolutely.
It's like, that's what you think. It's like, yeah.
That's why I just expressed that to you with my mouth.
Hence why it triggered you to say that.
Right.
Because it is what I think. Because it was I that said it.
Doy. Okay.
Like, as she helps this older guy into the building and into the elevator, I love these moments of Kate still fangirling
Totally.
that she's with an Avenger, because let's be honest, I would do the same thing. I'm sure Derek would. Everybody would do the same thing if they were on the right side and was helping an Avenger. But again, it is interesting how this guy kind of gets weirded out when she says, like, I'm talking to an Avenger. And he's like, okay, I'll take this things now. Bye. Because either maybe he doesn't want any trouble. He doesn't know if there's about to be a fight in his building. And he just wants to distance himself from the calamity that might ensue from this strange girl with the bow.
Or it's New York City and people are crazy.
Also, did you get like only murders in the building vibes from this scene? I'm just saying. Just a little bit.
Totally.
Older guy in the elevator.
Totally.
Younger girl.
With black hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Just saying. Great show. Watch it. It's on Hulu.
Watch it. We watched the entire series in one night.
Yeah.
It was
We
amazing.
did. Oh my God, we did. And it has podcasting in it. Why didn't we cover that?
Hello. Season 2.
So we all know the watch was in Maya's apartment. Were we, like, did you know, comment, like, you had to have known, comment below, that it was going to be in Maya's apartment, because I mean, how our Hawkeyes didn't know that it was in Maya's apartment? I'm just going to chalk it up to because it's TV. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, maybe Google the address.
Who owns this address?
Oh, I have a question.
Also, Laura, good job.
I have a question.
Okay.
Laura gave them the address, but not the apartment number. How did they know which apartment it was in?
She gave the apartment number.
She did not.
Shh. Don't
She
tear
did
it apart.
not. They just guessed. The
Yeah.
one without Christmas decorations.
True, she did not have Christmas decorations on her balcony, which was kind of sad. She's too busy to decorate.
Yeah, she's trying to like avenge her father. She's busy.
Clint offers a brief explanation of the significance of this Rolex watch. He says it belongs to someone I used to work with. She says, is that the whole story, Clint? He says they've been out of the game for a long time, but their identity is still attached to the watch. Is there a USB on it? Is there engraving on the back of it? I really need to know at this point.
BMS. Be more specific.
While it isn't clear who the watch belongs to in the moment and what it may be capable of, because it might not even just have literal initials on it. What is it? Right. What is it capable of? It's obvious that it holds importance to at least 3 people. Clint, Laura Barton, and Maya. If not Kingpin as well, but I'm assuming that maybe he commanded Maya to get it. You know what I mean?
I mean, is it one of these things where like possibly it's her dad's watch and like possibly her dad was like really was like a double agent in the tracksuit mafia and like possibly had to give his life
No,
to
because
protect
why
his
would she?
role in
Why would she?
S.H.I.E.L.D. or something?
No, why would she put it on the bookshelf with the tag still on it? Like if it was that important to
She's
her.
busy.
No.
She's busy.
I don't think it's related to her dad at all.
Okay, then why does it mean something to her?
Well, that's why I said, or if not her, then somebody tasked her to go get it.
Tasks mastered her.
Don't. Mm-mm. I loved Taskmaster and Black Widow, but whatever. Clint.
Clarnt.
Clark. Kate
Clate.
entered the apartment and is greeted with strobe lights. But no alarm. Ever watched Hush? Immediately when I saw that, I was like, no sound, strobe lights. It's for somebody that's hard of hearing or is deaf. It's like, obviously, this is Maya's apartment. Kate finds the watch, but next to it, the mystery
Christmas
thickens.
candle.
No, even worse.
Even worse.
a list of Clint's family members with ages except for Nathaniel.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah.
That is what is called not good.
No, but also, does Maya suspect that Clint is Ronan?
I think so.
Or is she just tasked with knowing more about him?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in her research, but it is weird that there's this lone pad in her apartment.
Next to the watch?
Next to the watch. And a Christmas candle. There's a Christmas candle.
I didn't see it, but I believe you.
There is. It is. It has pine needles and a little
Only
pine cone on
festive
it.
thing she has in her apartment.
Well, I mean, you got to celebrate somehow. I did like some of her wall art. I'll go with that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Why does she have this pad? Why is it there? Why is it not written on an iPad note or an iPhone note? You know what I'm saying?
Well, because this is an Apple TV, so
that's true.
It
would be
exist.
a Pearphone. It would be a Pearphone.
Right, or a Samsung. Just as Clint warned Kate to make a run for it, and we heard him getting jumped, Kate herself is grappling with the apartment's owner, Maya Lopez.
We're like, who? To a clone? No.
So this brings us to our final segment / section. I should have said section, not segment. Doesn't make sense. Of the episode Hawkeyes versus Echo versus Widow. Clint fires a grappling arrow across the street and tells Kate to get on the zipline. She jumps on it, but gets stuck halfway through.
This is a lesson in physics. Momentum is important.
Also, it did not have very much of a decline for her to gain momentum.
Straight across.
At all.
Right,
Pretty
horizontal.
Much. Right, yeah. Which, it was funny. It was great because, like, I think after watching it a second time, I caught myself automatically in the motions of, like, she's making a cross. Because that's just what happens in action stuff or whatever. It's like, magically, somehow, that shirt that they used on the zipline did not disintegrate because of friction.
Didn't burn.
They made it across. And this one, it did not work that way, and she did not make it all the way across. But thankfully, because this masked, night-goggled figure uses it to also kick Clint's ass, also gives her more momentum to go across.
Yeah.
So she's eventually jolted and winds up on the roof, where a lengthy, acrobatic fight scene unfolds between Clint, the mystery figure, Kate, and Maya, because Maya also makes her way over there. I will say this fight was choreographed really well.
Yeah.
Staged pretty cool because there's a gap in between the buildings that adds for extra tension.
Oh.
But it was very hard to follow because it was very dark and they all wear very dark outfits.
I really liked the bow work in this choreography as well as the knee pirouettes.
Oh, when there's a widow involved, there's going to be some great flipping and leg action.
So much flipping.
Yep.
So much like stuff with wires using the levels of the building, not in a very threatening way, which was nice.
Right.
I really thought it was top notch.
Yeah. There's a moment in this fight after they're fighting a little bit, and then we see some little familiar, shocking, stunning bracers being used on Clint.
Little Black Widow venom
Which,
bites.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe when Nat used them, they were blue. And when we see this mysterious figure, I don't know why we keep putting it off, but we see it's red, which is very much the Black Widow's color. So I kind of like the change a little bit.
Agreed.
I like it.
Makes it pop.
And there's
Christmassy.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah.
Santa Claus.
There's a point. He does exist in Marvel, and he's terrifying. Yeah, he's not great. So just putting that out there. He's great in the DC universe. Marvel, he's a maniac.
Stan Lee said no.
Yeah. There's a moment where Kate is knocked off of the building.
Oh, no.
But before this happens, we see this mysterious figure hook a line onto her belt and push her off. So obviously we know that this is Yelena Belanova, which is one amazing because Florence is back in our lives from the amazing smash hit this past summer of Black Widow. The entire world fell in love with her.
I can't believe we haven't watched Black Widow again.
I want to, but
I want to as well.
I feel like it's like we saw it when we saw it, and then like a lot was happening at the time, and we just never did. We need to do a rewatch of the Phase 4 stuff just to enjoy it again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She just was totally the breakout star of that movie and like had such a comedic role on top of just being awesome.
Also intimidating and cool as fuck.
And it's like, it's funny though, right? Because we're watching like the Hawkeye series, and we know that she's there
This entire time.
She's there to kill him.
Yeah.
But we're also like, yay, Yelena's here.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really excited to see where this goes and how it ends and who she's connected to and who did Eleanor call possibly to send her, or it just happened by happenstance.
I think it's happenstance.
But she saved Kate from falling over the edge. It be that they do only try to kill who their mark is.
Right, exactly.
Or maybe she's not sure and she kind of got caught off guard by Hawkeye having this young protege with her. You know what I mean?
I
So
think in that
it's
moment,
interesting.
I think in that moment, it's just about getting rid of the distraction that's in the way of her target, so she doesn't have to kill that distraction. There's a easier way to get rid of them.
Right. And also she's fighting Maya at the same time.
True.
Like, I feel like when I first saw this, I was like, are they fighting together? But she also used the Widow Sting on Maya as well and also kicked her across the thing. So they were kind of fighting at the same time. And I don't like the parallels that Clint had to go through with Kate as opposed to Nat. He went over the edge after, like, he looked over the edge when Kate got thrown off the edge. And you can just see, and Jeremy Renner did an amazing job in the scene. You can just see in his face where he was like, not again. Again? Are you kidding me? With falling to their death again? Stay off of high places. I'm just saying. Don't do that.
It was really sad. I mean, I think the thing is like that's the one thing that haunts
Breaking
him.
point.
Yeah. And there it was again in front of him. And I think that's why seeing this scene play out again, he says to her, get out of here.
Yeah, he's like, this is too much now. Get out of here. And I like the parallels between when this was happening and with Nat and Endgame, she said to let me go. Kate said to pull me up. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I can make it through the last 2 seconds of this episode.
Yeah.
It's just sad because it's one of those things where it's like she was giving herself up, but Kate is not done yet.
And also though, Kate does not know what he has been through.
No, not exactly.
So
Like
in this
heard,
moment, she's not connecting the dots, whereas
He
is connecting his entire past to this.
Yeah, and he cuts her down with somehow knowing that these very small bodega string Christmas
lights can save anything, apparently.
Again, suspend thy disbelief.
I believe that over them guessing which apartment the watch was in.
Whatever.
Also, I like that these Christmas lights sort of go with the Hawkeye color scheme.
Yeah.
They're not like your red, blue, green,
Right.
white. They're kind of like these like more pastel-y
Right.
colors.
It's not your typical ones.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
appreciate that.
After Kate gets cut down, she obviously comes back up.
I love her.
She separates Clint, Maya, and Yelena from fighting because there's too much with a sonic arrow. Maybe
Sonic
it's called?
boom arrow? Sure.
Yeah, something like that. Also shoots Maya in the shoulder,
Not okay.
which I was like, okay.
Took it too far, babe.
Right. But I do appreciate Maya being like, probably I'm good. I'm just going to.
I was not aware there was going to be extra people in this.
Also, I
so-
wasn't expecting to get shot, so I'm just gonna.
I'm out of here. My leather jacket can only do so much.
There's a hole in it now. Like, come on. So I respect that from her, and then we get the reveal of Florence, Yelena,
Yes.
amazing, and then the attaching the grapple to the roof, and then just jumping off while spinning and putting her arms out
French
like
braid, baby.
Did you realize that she was wearing Natasha's hair braid?
French braid.
I don't like
baby.
it. It's too much emotion.
She loves her sister.
I know, but where's her vest with a bunch of pockets?
Listen to me. Both
Did she
Yelena
get it?
and Clint are mourning Natasha. They just don't know it.
Yeah, if you saw, there was a new TV spot that came out on Thursday, I believe, and it's kind of like the trailer to get you ready for the last 2 episodes. There's going to be much more Yelena, which I'm super excited for. But let's wait to see what happens, because there's scenes where it shows them fighting in an ice rink, because now we know that
Rockefeller Center, baby.
Right. And then, but there's also them talking. So it's going to be very interesting. I feel like maybe there's going to be a second season or whatever, but there's too much to tie up in 2 episodes, which is our normal feeling with these shows.
I just like I like the power that Yelena has, where Kate is there with her arrow at the ready, and Yelena looks at her and just shakes her head no.
That's the shot that she did. The best shot that Hawkeye didn't take was the one, but the best shot that he took was the one he didn't take. It's the same thing with Kate. She did the same thing with her sister. The parallels. And I hate that Marvel does this to you.
It's called good storytelling, man.
But it's called Makes Me Sad.
Listen, I don't think we will ever be over Natasha's death.
No, because
we won't.
Shouldn't have happened.
No, it shouldn't. I agree. I completely agree with that. But they're doing some really good storytelling.
Yeah.
And by telling that story, we're getting more depth into Clint, and we're getting to love Yelena.
Yeah, I mean, I am liking Clint more, which I suspected would happen with this series. I didn't necessarily hate him. I just didn't really care for him. But I'm glad Kate is here and Yelena's back and Clint is there and we're getting Maya Lopez, and it's all for the better. Whatever. It took us years of not caring about Clint to finally give us like 7 things that we really care about. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen in these next 2 episodes. There's going to be a Christmas party of some sort. I just hope by series end he does get back to his family. Even if it's Christmas night, just get back to them on Christmas Day.
He's going to be dressed as Santa. And he's going to be like, ho, ho, ho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm super excited. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Only 2 episodes left. It's going fast, folks. It's going fast. All right. 2 episodes left. But we have a couple of special segments left. So, without further ado, here is For Christmas Sake. Oh, my God.
I love the segues into this.
You guys.
Always flawless.
Listen. This segue may not have been as good as your first segue from this episode, but it was definitely better than your second. It was definitely better than your second segue.
Shut up.
Roasted.
Keep going.
You come for my segues, I come for your. Okay, so this one feels lightly related to the last one, where it has to talk about performing at school. Okay, well, whilst there was breakfast...
Same year.
Well, that was actually not the last one. It was the one before that. So whilst there was breakfast with Santa... right, which was like an extra thing that I did. When you were in school, we had assemblies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the assemblies was like, there was the Christmas assembly. So then each grade had to put on either a play or a song.
Oh, that's too
around
much.
Christmas.
Oh, no.
Right.
Assemblies for us not in Catholic private school were like, here's the announcements, or like, homecoming's happening.
Oh, no, we never did that.
Oh.
Assemblies were like a big thing. We had the spring assembly and we had
Interesting.
the Christmas assembly. So this particular year that I'm talking about was we decided, I think it was like 6th grade, to write a Christmas play. Okay.
The kids. Okay.
And so being in 6th grade, our Christmas play was based on the movie Clueless.
I did not expect that, but I appreciate it.
Cher had to learn the meaning of Christmas because obviously all she cared about were materialistic things.
So it's a mix between Clueless and The Grinch.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole thing was written, Claire, whatever, right? So
the same name of the characters in the movie?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we're
That's
just
amazing.
a local school. We, it was literally like a Clueless Christmas. And so...
A Cluesmas.
So a Cluesmas had scenes of Cher in modern day interacting with Ty and Dion and Josh and her dad, but also flashed back to the nativity to learn the meaning of Christmas.
Okay. You know how I said cuz TV and suspend disbelief, but that's going too far.
Listen.
Are they related?
Cher and Jesus? No.
Yeah.
I don't know, but she had to learn.
I'm saying in your guys' mind.
No, because Cher was very materialistic, right?
Right.
The story started with her going shopping with her friends, and they decided like, well, we have to buy all these presents, so you got to charge it like a credit card. But then her brother Josh, Paul Rudd, right, says to
Ant-Man.
her, what?
Ant-Man, and I'll go back.
It's Marvel, yeah. Says to her, Cher, there's more to Christmas than presents. Okay, so while this sounds ridiculous, the thing I'm most upset about is the casting.
Oh,
this entire
no.
thing. Because guess what?
Uh-huh.
I have had the same two best friends
Right.
for pretty much my entire life.
Vinny and Melissa.
Vinny and Melissa,
Shout
right?
out. Yep.
Guess who played Cher? Melissa.
Of course. Yes.
Guess who played Paul Rudd?
Finny.
Vinny. Guess who I played?
Jesus.
No, a shepherd in the flashback of the nativity scene.
Not even a wise man.
Not even a king.
That's the
Not
worst.
even Joseph. Y'all.
Not even the lamb.
Okay. Not even the star that guided them there. There I was in a drab friggin' brown robe while Melissa and Vinny were center stage in the better half of the play.
The more coherent and made sense part of the
Yes.
Did you guys have to add Jesus because it was a Catholic school?
What do you mean we had to? Of course, it was all about Jesus.
Oh, okay. I'm
Hello?
just curious. I'm just
Listen.
trying to connect, but I think it's hilarious.
I'm just saying that I have had some pretty some things that have happened to me in my life that have left an impression. This is one of them because also the next year we did Wizard of Oz as the main play and Melissa was Dorothy
Oh, God.
and Vinny was the Scarecrow and I was just a crow.
Scarecrow. One of the crows is when
It wasn't good. Okay. I will say the writing flawless. Vinny and Melissa's performances incredible. But I got a little chip on my shoulder. Okay? Especially because in the yearly Breakfast with Santa nativities,
Oh, God.
I was always Joseph. I got downgraded.
Maybe they just wanted to give some other kids some other chances. Also, is this this is why I didn't join theater or drama because I couldn't handle that. I didn't want that.
High school, Vinny made the play.
Oh my God.
I was in charge of selling snacks. Okay. Okay. Listen.
It sounds like an easier job to me. I'm just saying. It's
Inventory? Giving change back?
comment below if you have any funny Christmas stories that don't or do relate to being in Christmas.
Christmas. That's it for Christmas sake. What did you expect? Another part of me sharing my embarrassment with you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jeez.
Thanks for listening to A Bite Of, artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite Of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite Of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite Of. Bye!